I'd been involved with the business school really since the time I went to school here. And I was thinking of other ways to help the school, and they tend to focus around the business school. And I don't know, the idea of just having my name on the side of a wall someplace because you helped pay down some debt or whatever it was, as much as I'm very fond of Rich Lyons, and he's done a great job of running that business school, I just, it wasn't what I wanted to do. So one day I'm walking across the campus with the chancellor, and it just occurred to me, this is the place that recruited the most Peace Corps kids, always cared about these issues. And so I said, Bob, what would you think of the idea of a center that deals with global poverty? He turns to me and says, I love the idea. And then, we continued the discussions, and we got it started with really two things in mind: introducing students, even just to a core course on global poverty, sort of a survey course like you'd take one on music or art history or whatever, so that people would learn about it, and maybe that's what they want to do with their life. Then maybe they'll get involved later on in life, or maybe they'll never do anything except learn something about it. So thanks to just the basic interest of the students.
But can you tell me how these discussions, from this germ of an idea walking across the campus to this wonderful center?
There were two ideas right at the beginning. One is, what courses should we teach? And the idea of embracing technology to develop it for use in the third world. And
were those ideas you brought to it, or the chancellor?
Well, no, the class ideas were mine. The technology was really, it started with a guy by the name of Rich Newton, who was then Dean of the School of Engineering, a wonderful human being who unfortunately developed cancer and passed away within the year. But he left the mantle to Shankar Sastry, who is also Dean of the School of Engineering. And
so Rich Newton helped kind of foster the idea?
Well, the idea of bringing, not just having courses and sending kids abroad, but bringing the idea of technology and what can it do, not for you and me, but for people in the developing world. And it frankly is, as a business guy who barely knows how to tie his shoes, the technology idea would not likely have been mine. But the minute we started talking about it, I said, of course, that's what we should do. And then we brought a lovely young professor by the name of Ananya Roy, who is a powerhouse. And the first year, the key course, which is called Global Poverty Practice and Theory or something like that, there were 100 kids in her class. The second year, there was 200 kids. The third year, they moved it to Wheeler Auditorium, 730, and 1,000 or more, 1,100 signed up for the course. We now have Bob Reich, who is actually part of the Goldman School, but has written extensively on poverty issues, and teaches a course there in our center. Same thing. So we have had 4,400 kids through our classes in 4 years. We've had 230 to 38 countries, and we have 500 kids in our minor, which they've never had a minor that grew this fast. I don't think they've ever had a minor that had 500 students in it. We also have faculty that, I don't know if they've started this yet, that come from Davis. One professor from agriculture, the other one from veterinary medicine, who are going to come down here and teach a course 2 days a week on rural development. And we have a joint course starting with the law school about governance, because proper governance in these countries is so important. And we have
very interdisciplinary, much more than most.
Totally. We didn't want to make it a major because we didn't want to compete with anybody. We wanted to cooperate with them all. So we have a couple of courses in the business school, sociology, and also with public health. And we're figuring out how to bring UCSF into it from the point of view of healthcare. And I sort of think our courses will be up and running at UCLA within a year. And we're starting to teach our courses in Beijing at Tsinghua University, and we're going to send a bunch of our kids with Chinese kids to Western China this summer. And
how do these ideas come about?
The one from Tsinghua came from Bob Birgeneau speaking in Beijing and talking about this center. So it was their idea. The one for the agreement with the Inter-American Development Bank was mine. I said, because you start talking about poverty and everybody, it's Africa, maybe a little Southeast Asia. I said, what about south of the border? And for some reason, I don't know why there isn't more of a focus on it. And so we signed the first agreement ever with the Inter-American Development Bank, which I think came into being about the same time. We sort of with the same idea as the World Bank. So we got to figure out. We got a lot of things going, and you got to keep track of them all and keep moving them ahead.